Alright, welcome to the last lesson of Mod 2 Part 1. Today we're going to be talking about dividing mixed numbers. So it's still fractions, a fraction by a fraction or a fraction by a whole number, but now we'll involve mixed numbers. So make sure you have the notes and the assignment in Notability, and make sure you're taking the notes, not just watching me do the problems. Actually be that engaged learner. I want to remind you again, dividend is what we're dividing into. Divisor is what we're dividing by, and quotient is our answer. So the dividend, the divisor, and or the quotient might be a mixed number today. So a quick review from the last the last lesson. To use the algorithm, so if you did not want to use a model, you keep the first number, or the dividend, you changed the division to multiplication, and you flipped the second number, or found the multiplicative inverse. So whole numbers, we have to put 1 underneath and then flip them, and then multiply across. So 1/2 divided by 4, which means how many times does 4 go into 1/2, is 1/8. Or we can say 1/2 divided into 4 pieces gives us how many pieces total, and that would be 1/8. Alright, 5. We keep our first number the same, change division to multiplication, and flip our second number, or take the reciprocal or multiplicative inverse. Since 5 is a whole number, we're going to make it into a fraction by putting it over 1, and then we're going to multiply straight across. 5 times 3 is 15. 1 times 2 is 2. So now we have an improper fraction because that numerator is more than the denominator. So off to the side, I'm going to figure out how many times 2 goes into 15, because remember, this fraction bar really means division. So 2 goes into 15 7 times, with 1 left over. So going clockwise, whole, numerator, denominator. So 7 and 1/2. And the last problem for the review, 4/5. So first number, keep, change, flip. So now my numerator became my denominator became my numerator. Now, as I said in the past, I like working with small numbers, so I like to simplify first. I see this numerator is 4. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 4 once. Now I can just multiply across. 1 times 7 is 7. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 goes into 7 one time with 2 left over. So we could make 1 whole with 2/5 left over. So now let's talk about the mixed numbers. The process is exactly the same when there's a mixed number, but first, just like when we were adding and subtracting, sometimes it was easier to change the mixed numbers to improper first. So we could make a model to show, or we could use that clockwise, denominator times whole plus the numerator equals the new numerator, and you keep the denominator the same. So our steps, we're going to rename the mixed number to an improper. So 3 2/3 became 11/3. 5, 6 became the same. We're going to keep, change, flip, and reduce if we can. So reduce and then multiply across and then simplify. So first we're going to rename. So I'm going to change by doing the clockwise. 11 times 3 is 33, plus 5 is 38 elevenths, divided by, I'm going to keep this the same, 11 times 2 is 22, plus 2 is 24 elevenths. So I just changed them to mixed numbers and improper fractions. Now I'm going to rewrite it, so keep, change, flip. And then I can do the happy dance because I can see that there is some simplifying I can do. 11 goes into 11 once, goes into 11 once, 38 and 24. I know that at least 2 goes in, so let's just do that. 2 goes into 24 12 times, and it goes into 38, and if you don't know that off the top of your head, don't try to sit and think about it, actually write it off to the side. 2 goes into 3 one time. And then 9, so 19 times. So now I can multiply across 19 twelfths. 12 goes into 19 one time with 7 left over. All right, now I want you to pause and see if you can do these on your own. Remember, you are changing them to improper, and you're going to keep, change, flip, multiply, and reduce, or reduce and then multiply. So see what you can do with these. Okay, I have us started, but I noticed as I was writing mine, like I was changing to improper, like I did down here, that 2/4 and 4/8 can be reduced. And like I said, I'm lazy by nature when it comes to fractions. I don't want to do any more work than I have to, so I went and changed these right away. I simplified. So 2/4 is the same thing as 1/2, and 4/8 is the same thing as 1/2. One thing that I have not said in this video is that, remember, to multiply and divide, you do not need the same denominators. That is only with adding and subtracting. However, in this case, when we simplify, it gets us the same denominators, but it didn't need to. It just made us be able to work with smaller numbers. Okay, so now we're going to do that, changing to improper. So 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. So 1 and 1/2 is the same thing as 3/2, divided by 2 times 9 is 18 plus 1 is 19/2. And then I'm going to keep, change, flip. And I can see that the 2's can cancel out. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 2 once. The 3 and the 19 don't have a common factor, so I can just multiply across to get 3/19. So we took something that looked very difficult, and by reducing and writing it in a multiplication using multiplicative inverses, it came out to be something very simple. All right, this next one. I already did 5 times 3 is 15 plus 2 is 17, so 17/3 divided by 6 times 8 is 48, plus 1 is 49/6. I am going to keep, change, flip. And I can see that the 3 and the 6 have the factor of 3 in common, so 3 goes into 3 once, it goes into 6 2 times, so I can multiply across. Again, don't feel like you need to do this in multiplication in your head. Go ahead and bring it off to the side. 2 times 7 is 14, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So now I have 34/49. And I'm pretty sure that they don't have a common factor, since 49 only has 1 and 7 as factors. So I think we're done with that problem. All right, let's figure out some word problems. You do have a couple word problems on your assignment today. So we have to remember to be active readers. A bunch of kids went on a hike through the nature center. The total mileage was 16 2/3 miles, and each child walked 4 16 of that. So how many kids went on the hike? So what we're trying to figure out is how many times does 4 1/6 go into 16/3? So I'm going to write that as a division problem. 16 2/3 divided by 4 1/6. And I don't see anything I can reduce, so I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this as improper. So 16 times 3, again, if you need to write it off to the side, please do. 3 times 6 is 18, carry the 1, 3 times 1, so 48, 49, because we have to add this. So now we have 50 thirds divided by 6 times 4 is 24 plus 1 is 25 sixths. I'm feeling pretty good because I see some things that once we keep, change, flip, we're going to be able to make this a really simple problem, because 3 goes into 3 once and it goes into 6 2 times. 25 goes into 25 once and it goes into 50 2 times. So now I can multiply across. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 over 1 is 4. So 4 kids went on the hike. So we wrote our division problem. We changed it to improper. We simplified. We changed it to multiplication by multiplying by the multiplicative inverse or reciprocal. Then we simplified and multiplied. All right, Larry bought 12 and 12 pounds of candy to share with his friends. This is the total amount that he has. He gave each 2.5 pounds to his friends. That's a heck of a lot of candy. So how many friends could he have? Well, clearly they only like him for his candy, because that's a lot. So we're going to write this as he had 12.5 pounds, and we're wondering how many times does 2.5 pounds fit into that? So first we have to change to improper. So 2 times 12 plus 1. 2 times 12 is 24, plus 1 is 25 halves, divided by 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5 halves. So then I'm going to do my keep, change, flip. And again, I can see that I have some things that I can cancel. 2 goes into 2 once, it goes into 2 once, 5 goes into 5 once, it goes into 25 5 times. So when it's all said and done, he has 5 friends to share it with. Okay, so I hope that helps figuring out how to divide mixed numbers by other fractions or vice versa. Now, hopefully you'll be able to do the assignment. If you get stuck, please come see me. All right, we out.